welcome. Well, we're going to be studying and going on a trip to Israel. Man, it's going to be so exciting. You know, Israel, that's where like Abraham and Isaac and King David and even Jesus lived. It's going to be so awesome. Some of the things you get to see on this trip, some of the things that you get to hear. Well, you know, if we're going to be in Israel, then we need to have a proper greeting. The proper greeting would be Shalom. Now, Shalom means hello or good day, or it also means peace. So when you say Shalom, you're asking God to give them peace. So we need to practice this. So are you ready? Say it with me. Shalom. Ha, that was excellent. One more time. Shalom. Yeah, we're going to have a great time in Israel. So, are you ready? Let's go to Israel.
Our destination for this series is the amazing land of Israel. It's a small country, especially when we compare it to Canada. Have you ever been to Nova Scotia? Nova Scotia is almost 3 times bigger than Israel. Have you ever been to British Columbia? Vancouver Island, which is part of British Columbia, is still a little bit bigger than the whole country of Israel. But even though it's a small country, we often hear about it in the news. People in Israel have created many things, including medical and computer devices that are used all over the world today. They even invented cherry tomatoes. What do you think the people of Israel are like? The people of Israel, often called the Jewish people, are very dedicated to their land. The Jewish people believe they are obeying God by honoring the land He gave to them. About 4,000 years ago, God gave the land of Israel to the very first Jewish person, Abraham. All of the Jewish people come from Abraham's family. God gave the land of Israel to Abraham as a reward because Abraham loved and obeyed God. What does it mean to obey? To obey means to do what someone asks or tells you to do. It's time for our High Point Challenge. Do they have pizza in Israel? Yes or no? Yes, there are many places you can find to buy and eat pizza in Israel. Another fast food that is enjoyed is falafel. Falafel is a mixture of mashed chickpeas and spices that is shaped into balls and fried. Then it is stuffed into pita bread pockets and topped with fresh or pickled vegetables. Do you think you'd like to try some falafel? Do kids in Israel go to school? Yes or no? Yes, just like in Canada, they have grades 1 to 12 and attend school from September to June. Along with regular subjects taught in Canada, like math, science, and music, Israeli children also learn English and Hebrew. Is it always hot and dry in Israel? Yes or no? No. October to April is cool and rainy, while May to September is hot and dry. It rarely snows in Israel, although in December 2013, 40 to 70 centimeters of snow fell in Jerusalem. Do kids in Israel watch TV? Yes or no? Yes, they do watch TV, but just like kids in Canada, many of the programs children in Israel watch are found online. And just like in Canada, many children watch YouTube Kids. Do you think kids in Israel have fun? Yes or no? Yes, children in Israel do many of the same things Canadian kids do. They play outside, go to the beach, or a water park, or visit the zoo. They also play soccer and basketball. Even though soccer is the favorite sport in Israel, basketball is considered the national sport. Oh yes, and what we call soccer, they call football. While we're here in Israel, we're going to be learning about obedience and the importance of obedience. Our life verse for this session is, "If you love me, you will obey what I command." John 14 and 15. That's Jesus who is speaking. And so Jesus is saying, if you love me, if you love Jesus, you will obey what Jesus commands. That means if Jesus says, obey your parents, what should you do?
Obey your parents.
Obey your parents. Jesus says, if you love me, you will obey what I command. So if Jesus says, be kind to others, you should
Obey your parents.
be kind to others. So if you love me, you will obey what I command. John 14 and 15. So while we are visiting Israel, we will continue learning John 14, 15. If you love me, you will obey what I command. Do you think you could say it with me?
I'll try.
Okay.
Here we go. If you love me, you will obey what I command. John 14 and 15.
And of course, all of you at home, you're more than welcome to say it along with us too. So let's try it again.
Okay, here we go. If you love me, you will obey what I command. John 14 and 15.
So that's our life verse. So it's Jesus speaking, and he's saying, if you love me, you will obey what I command. So when we want to be obedient to Jesus, we will do what he commands.
Hey, Scoop. Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, at the Red Sea. Yeah, okay. What? Coral? You want me to get coral? He's not illegal. Okay. Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll call you when I'm done. Okay. See you soon. Bye.
Welcome to Israel. This is the nation that is the birthplace of Jewish and Christian faiths. Today we're starting our tour at the Red Sea. The same sea that God parted for Moses and the Israelites. Today, divers come from all over the world to explore one of the most beautiful coral reefs in the world!
Oh, hey! Hey, does that brochure say anything about crocodiles?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, and I must need glasses because I am positive I saw a crocodile out there. Oh,
You
oh, by the way,
don't look like...
I Snapper mug.
Hi, Snapper. You don't look like you're from around here.
Oh, no, I'm not. I was sent here by the National Topographic Magazine
Really?
to write an article on
what?
Just a
What
second
was it?
here. Here's my bag. It was on.
Is it in there somewhere?
No,
Can
that's
you
not
find
it. That's not it. Wait. Oh, here it is. I'm writing an article on like species that are here in the Middle East, like rare ones, like the
Really?
leopard. Yeah.
Like the leopard?
Yeah.
Wow, that sounds great.
Have you seen my photographer, Scoop Ferret?
Photographer? No, I don't even know Scoop Ferret.
Oh, he's him being my photographer is kind of good news, bad news type of thing. Good news, he's a really great photographer.
He is he?
Bad news, he can be a jerk sometimes.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
You guys are not the greatest of friends.
Well, I try to be a good friend to Scoop, but sometimes
What's
he
that
has
you got
a
in your
habit of getting me
pocket?
in trouble.
What's that you got in your pocket? Are
Oh,
you doing something wrong?
It's just a little piece of coral
A piece of the
I
coral?
got off the coral reef.
You're not supposed to take pieces of coral. Don't you know the rules?
Well, yeah, but like Scoop said that it would be really awesome and it would be a great still life shot if we had a piece of coral to go like along with the article I'm writing.
But the rules clearly say that you are not supposed to take any pieces of coral off the reef.
I know, but Scoop was like, it's just a small piece. No one will ever miss it. It would just be so awesome as part of the article.
Do you think the officials make the rules for a reason?
Probably.
Do you know how many people come here and snorkel and dive on the coral reef every year?
No, not really.
Lots of people come. And do you know what would happen if each person took a little piece of the reef?
I guess it would disappear.
It would. The rules are there for a good reason.
Well, Scoop has a good rule too. He says, do whatever it takes to get the job done. I mean, it can't be bad if you're doing like your best for your boss, can it?
Sure, but wanting to do a good job doesn't mean that you can do something wrong. Do you understand?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess Snoop's rule isn't really that great.
No, it isn't. I know you're trying to be a friend with Scoop,
Yeah.
but you're responsible to choose who you're going to obey.
Oh, well, I guess since I have the coral though, I could keep it, right? And take it to Scoop?
No, maybe I don't think that's a good idea. If you get caught with it, you're gonna get in trouble. Maybe you should take it to the officials and pay the fine.
Fine? You mean
Yeah.
there's a fine?
Yes.
Oh man, I hope it's not that expensive.
I don't
Oh.
think that's a good idea keeping
Well,
it
maybe
either.
I could keep it, yeah.
No, I don't think that's a good idea.
Whoa, what's
What?
that? Out there.
What? What are you talking about? Where?
I think that's the crocodile.
I don't see anything.
Yeah.
What are you talking
I'm
about?
positive he's been following me since Egypt. I'm pretty sure I saw him on the train.
I'm pretty sure he's after you because you took that piece of coral.
You think so?
Oh, I do. I'm sure.
Oh, it's okay, Mr. Crocodile. I'm going to put it back. I promise. I'm going, Steve, right now.
I don't think Sniper understood what I was trying to tell her about all the rules and not taking coral. Maybe we'll see her again Unless that imaginary crocodile gets her before we see her. Snapper has a hard time following the rules, and her friend, that photographer, doesn't sound like he's helping either. You know, it's not easy to follow the rules and obey, but it's important to do so. When we obey, we honor God. Well, who's ready to come with me and enjoy the Red Sea?
That sea sure is cold. Oh. Oh, my phone. Oh, where are you, phone? Oh, Scoop. Hey, Scoop, hi. Yeah. So about that coral. I'm not sure how well this plan was really thought through.
You know, in teaching about obeying and being in Israel, we have this PowerPoint, and it's called What's the Point? It's really simple. It says, I will obey because I love God. Think you can say it with me? Oh, I'm sure you can. Let's try it. I will obey because I love God. Now, so through this session, if we say, what's the point? You need to jump up and say, I will obey because I love God. Think we can say it together?
I think so.
Okay, here we go. I will obey because I love God.
What's the point?
I will obey. Oh, I was supposed to jump up, wasn't I? I will obey because I love God.
When you see a red light, what do you do? Or what do your parents do? You stop for a red light because it is dangerous to go. In obedience, the red light stands for the times you stop and obey so you don't get in trouble. For example, if you're talking and the teacher tells you to be quiet, you stop talking so you don't get into trouble. When you see a green light, what do? You go because you know it is safe to go. The green light in obedience stands for the times you do something because it is a good idea. For example, you might think it's a good idea to finish your homework without being asked because that makes your parents happy. When you see a yellow light, what do? When you see a yellow light, you choose. If it's safe, you can go. If it's not safe, you stop. In obedience, the yellow light stands for the times we have to choose how to obey. By making the right choice, we are making a safe choice. For example, if you are in the park and an adult comes up to you and offers you candy, what should you do? If you are beside your parents, it is safe to talk with the adult, and your parent will let you know if you can take the candy. If you are not beside your parents or a trusted adult, but they are nearby, you should go directly to them and not take the candy. If you are alone in the park, you never accept any kind of gift from someone who is not a trusted adult. Instead, yell, "No!" very loudly, walk away, and go to a safe place. A safe place could be your home if it is nearby, the house of a friend or a trusted adult, or a mom in the park with her children. When you are with your parent or a trusted adult, it is very important to tell them about the adult who tried to talk to you. What if you were coming home from school and someone came up to you and said, "Your mother sent me to pick you up," what should you do? There may be a small group of adults who are considered trusted adults. They would always be allowed to pick you up, and so it is safe to go with them. Your parents can let you know who can pick you up without a special code word. These are called trusted adults. Trusted adults may be grandparents, an aunt, an uncle, or a close family friend. It is important to know who are your family's trusted adults. But what if the person is not a trusted adult? What should you do then? Never go with someone just because you know them or because they are your friend's parent, even if they know your name. Talk with your parents about having a secret code word that only you and your siblings know. If your parents said someone to pick you up, the adult picking you up will be given the code word. Then someone who is sent by your parents will be given the special word. When they tell you the correct code word, you will know it is safe to go with them. Every time you use the code word, your family will need to make up a new code word once you get home. If the person does not have the code word, then do not go with them. It is not safe. If you are still at school, go back inside and tell a teacher. What if you've already started walking home and a person stops to offer you a ride? Do not go near the car, even if you can't hear what they are saying or they motion for you to come closer. Stay far away. If they have been sent by your parents, then they will tell you the code word, and you will know it is safe to go with them. If they cannot give you the code word, then run away in the opposite direction than the car is facing and find a trusted adult, a police officer, or go to a safe place. Why do we obey? We obey to stop from getting into trouble. We can obey for good things like pleasing God or by obeying someone God wants us to obey. And sometimes we have to think about the best and safe way to obey. It is not always easy to obey, but it is always important. It's important so we avoid punishment, but it is even more important to obey because we love God. Our obedience shows that we love Him.
The children of Israel had been in Egypt for almost 300 years. And Pharaoh was being mean to them. He was making them slaves. And God came to Moses and says, "Moses, I want you to deliver my people from Egypt." Moses goes, "I'm an old man and I don't speak very well. I've been a foreigner." And every excuse that Moses came up with, God kept saying, "Moses, I will be with you." And then he says, "Well, what am I going to say? Who do I say sent you?" And God said, "Tell him I am that I am." He says, "Now, Moses, throw your stick on the ground." And Moses threw it down. All of a sudden, it became a slivering, slimy snake. And God says, "Pick the stick up." It was a slithering, slimy snake, and Moses reached down and boom, became a stick again. So Moses goes to Pharaoh and he says, "Pharaoh, king of Egypt, God says, let my people go. Let the children of Israel go. Who is this God that you're talking about? He's not so powerful, I don't still see him. And Moses says, watch. And he throws the stick on the ground and it became a slithering, slimy snake. And Pharaoh goes, ha ha ha, nice trick. Magicians, wise men, come in here. They threw their sticks on the ground, but Moses' stick swallowed up the other snake sticks. Moses picked up his stick. There was a stick. Not a snake, but a stick. And Moses said, Pharaoh, you gotta let the children of Israel go. He says, if not, God is going to show his hand in a powerful way. I'll never let them go. So Moses goes out and he touches the water, the Nile River, and it became blood and it stunk. All the ponds became blood. Pharaoh says, my wise men can do that. And so they touched the water and it became blood also. And then the people complained, oh, we need something to drink. And Pharaoh goes, okay, if you call off the blood, if you change it back to water, I'll let the people go. But he changed his mind. And then frogs came up on the land. And then Pharaoh got all confused. And he goes, okay, I'll let them go. And they changed his mind. Well, then there was gnats and flies. And the livestock died. And boils on the people. And then there was this hailstorm that came and flattened the trees. And then there was a swarming locust that ate all of the green, all of the leaves off the trees. And finally, there was darkness that God had created for 3 days. It was like so dark that you could almost feel it. And Moses kept saying, let my people go. Pharaoh says, I will never let them go and you'll never see my face again. God told Moses, tell the children of Israel to kill a lamb and then take some grass, some long stems of grass, and paint the blood on top of the doorposts and on the frames of the doors, and then be inside. Make sure your whole family's inside. And then roast that lamb. But you got to be dressed. You got to have your sandals on, because tonight God is going to send his death angel. And when the death angel sees the blood on the doors, he's going to pass over you. But if he doesn't see the blood, the death angel will kill the firstborn of your family. Well, the children of Israel did just that. They killed the lamb. They put the blood on the doorposts and on the door frames. And then they went in and roasted the lamb, and they were all dressed, ready to go, because God was going to deliver them. But in Egypt, they did not obey. They did not listen to what Moses was saying about the death angel. And in the middle of the night, Pharaoh went to his oldest son, his firstborn, tried to arouse him, only to find out that the death angel had gone through the entire land, killing the firstborn sons. From the Pharaoh, the most important, to the lonely maiden who serves the food. And there was this huge cry, and finally Pharaoh says, get out of here, Moses! Take your people and go worship! Get out of here! And Moses began to lead the people out. Oh, they were excited. No longer were they going to be slaves of Pharaoh. No longer were they going to be under the taskmaster's control. They were free. So they gathered up their stuff and they began to move out. They walked for a little while and they came to the Red Sea. Someone came in and said, Pharaoh, all of the children of Israel, they've gone. But they're camped at the Red Sea. Pharaoh changed his mind. He says, what have we done? We've gotten rid of all of the slaves that were children of Israel. Army, let's go get them and bring them back. So they fired up the chariots. They got them all ready to roll. And they started racing out towards the children of Israel. The children of Israel looked behind them, and there they saw the dust of the chariots. And someone says, the Egyptian army is coming. Moses, what have you done to us? You brought us out here into the desert. The Red Sea, we can't cross, is in front of us. And the Egyptian army is coming behind us. Wasn't there enough graves back in Egypt? Why did you bring us out here to die? Moses says, be still, for God will fight for you today. And then they looked up into the sky as it was getting towards night. And they saw this pillar of fire that was glowing, God's presence. And that fire moved to the back of the camp. And so it was between the advancing army of the Egyptians and the children of Israel. And then God said to Moses, Moses, stretch out your hand, stretch out your rod over the Red Sea. And as Moses did that, and as the people were afraid, because here they were, the Egyptians were coming. They were on one side. The Red Sea was in front of them. A strong wind began to blow. And that wind blew all night long, and it caused the Red Sea to split apart completely. And God says, okay, Moses, lead them through the Red Sea. And they begin to march, begin to walk right through on dry ground. On one side there was this wall of water, and on the other side there was this huge wall of water that God had caused the Red Sea to depart. Maybe a little kid was going, Mommy, look at, there's a little fish up at the top. Oh, there's a big fish. There's a shark down here. Oh. But they kept walking. Just as the last person from the children of Israel came to the other side of the Red Sea, Pharaoh says, get them! Charge! And they raced into the Red Sea, where the children of Israel had just walked on the dry ground. But God caused their wheels on the chariots to fall off, and they were going all crazy like. When they got into the middle of the Red Sea, the Egyptians were going, God, the God of the Israelites is fighting for them. Let's get out of here. But before they could even turn their chariots around and get out, when the last person that belonged to the children of Israel crossed onto the shore, Moses once again raised his hand. You see, Moses was being obedient to God. To show that we love God, we need to obey Him. Once again, he raised his hand over the Red Sea, his rod, and the huge walls of water came crashing down upon the Egyptian army and drowned all of them. You see, to show that we love God, we need to obey His commands. God told Moses to direct the children of Israel to put the blood on the doorpost and be ready to leave. When they obeyed, they were kept safe from the death angel. God told them to be ready to march, and so they had their sandals on and they had their bread basket all ready. And as soon as Pharaoh says, get out of here, they obeyed. When they came to the Red Sea, and the Red Sea was in front of them, and the advancing Egyptian army was behind them, Moses said, be still, and God's going to fight for you. He obeyed. When God told Moses to lift up his rod over the Red Sea, when he did it, God caused the waters to part. You see, even when they began to walk, they obeyed God. Even when they marched through the Red Sea, they were obeying God, and God caused them to walk on dry land. So, here's what we need to remember. That when we obey, we show that we love God.